If you survived crypto over this Black Monday that we've seen, that was yesterday, you perhaps have seen one of the, if not the biggest red day that we've seen from the FTX crash back almost a couple of years ago, which is pretty crazy to me. And I know that a lot of people just panicked, a lot of people sold, a lot of people bought. So I really want to hear what you've done and what your plan is. So feel free to make a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're gonna drop a lot of alpha today, just like we're doing every single day. So I really appreciate the support. And this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna discuss the situation on the market. I'm gonna give you my exact thoughts, how I'm positioning myself in the market, if anything is changing on my perspective, if I've also sold or bought anything. I'm gonna tell you everything. So if you're still here, congrats, because everything is trash. Obviously, we've seen a massive red day on Monday, and today we're seeing this green candle. So a lot of people have been asking me, Cyril, is the dip over? Was the dip there and now we're having a V-shaped reversal? Or is this just a fake out and then we're gonna continue dipping for the next days or perhaps even weeks to come? It's very hard to say. I saw this tweet by Miles Dosher that actually sums it up really well, and I'm not a macro guy, I'm not a TA expert by any means, that I don't claim to be, but these points actually just make sense, right? The Trump presidency odds decreasing, that is pretty clear. I think Trump went from odds of something like 70% winning or something like that to 50. That is obviously, you know, due to the US presidential elections being so impactful throughout the world. Whether you live in the US or not, it doesn't really matter. And I couldn't care less, honestly, by a personal perspective, who gets elected in the US. I am Italian, okay? I'm European. I don't care about the US elections, but it's stupid to deny the big influence that they have in every sort of nation and the overall macroeconomic climate, and also in the crypto markets. Fears of a recession have never been so strong in the last few years, which is pretty crazy. The stock market plummeting. If you've seen what the stock market did yesterday, was absolutely atrocious. And also Japan is not having a very good time. In fact, it's the next point, the yen unwind. Geopolitical tensions. I don't want to get political on my YouTube channel. I don't care of discussing politics here, but just see what's going on in the world and with the tensions in Middle East and you know, the countries sending stuff to other countries. Again, I don't want to get political, but do your own research on that. Then the other points, I think that they're minor comparing to the ones above, but altcoin dispersion, I couldn't agree more. I saw this map, which I like to go to from time to time, that really reminds you of the phase of the cycle that you find yourself in. And right now, I think that it's pretty clear that we're finding ourselves into a bear trap. I've seen people say that we're actually in a bull trap and then we're gonna do, you know, capitulation and then Bitcoin going to 10K or whatever. I don't think that's gonna happen. Could it happen? Yes, that would be very weird and disappointing for the majority of investors, but I think the chances are that this happens is probably at 10 to 20%, whereas there's a good 80 to 90% that this is the initial big sell-off followed by a black swan event. Obviously, black swan events are unpredictable and they're not, you know, put in this chart, but a black swan event accentuates what the sentiment has been. And I think that this is a clear bear trap, and I don't want to say that, oh, the worst is gone. I think that the worst is not gone. I think that we're gonna keep falling for a little bit, and that also explains my strategy, because I am almost all in crypto right now, but I still have perhaps 5% of my portfolio value. I wish I had more in this phase, to be completely honest with you. But I'm gonna buy more as soon as we have bigger dips. I think that Bitcoin is probably gonna go back to that 49K and below. I know that today we're seeing some bit of fresh air with Bitcoin going back to 55K. But I think that the worst is not over yet, especially as the more that I'm following the news and seeing what is happening in the Middle East. I think that that is heavily going to impact the stock markets, and if something impacts the stock markets greatly, then it also impacts the crypto market. As a result, there's been very big movements in the stock market as well. If you see, Warren Buffett sold billions of Apple stocks. Like, these things, you need to put, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist on this YouTube channel, but you need to put the pieces of the puzzle back together and see what your gut tells you. Is this a bear trap? Yes. Is this over? I don't think so. And this is why I've heavily accumulated in the dip of yesterday, but I've kept myself a lot of dry powder, and perhaps more than I would have anticipated, because this green candle, I'm not trusting it fully. And obviously, if you see the bubbles in the week, we are terribly red, but if you see crypto today, we're actually seeing big recovery. And one of the things that I want you to take notice, what is outperforming everything else where everything went so down and then recovered so quickly? Because there are some assets that went down, but they recovered much faster than some other assets. So for instance, if you look at Brett, let me actually take the Brett chart, because there is probably going to be interest for a lot of people. Below 1 billion market cap for Brett is cheap. Brett is my biggest blue chip meme coin conviction for the long term, for the entirety of the bull run. So I really want to make this example. Let's take Pepe. Let's compare the graph of Pepe with the one of Brett yesterday. Okay, while Brett had heavily recovered, say this was 9 p.m. Okay, Pepe started pumping again. Look at the bounce back of Brett and the one of Pepe. The one that Brett had was parabolic, and Brett started actually recovering way quicker. Look at the clear V-shaped recovery that you can see here. The one of Pepe was a bit hit or miss. I can also make the case of Bonk. You see a W shape, not a V shape. The one of Brett was drastic. Like as soon as all these people got liquidated and they sold or whatever, look at the clear recovery that he started having immediately. Look at from the movement of 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. It already had gained back almost 50% of its value. If you were looking at yesterday, how the market was actually reacting, Brett was the first one to move across the meme coin. So my thought is analyze what is doing bad, especially if everything's doing bad. What is the one doing best? In my opinion, it was clearly Brett. It was clearly the winner. So the things that outperform anything when the market is behaving poorly are the ones that are going to be winners in the end. And I also make the case of Kaspa, because Kaspa has been, I don't want to talk about the last day, but if you see what Kaspa has been doing in the grand scheme of things, look at what Kaspa has been doing on a yearly graph. It's between a 3 and a 4x from where we were 1 year ago in August last year. It's almost a 4x. That is actually a big deal, because if an altcoin has been heavily outperforming all other altcoins in a bear market, the chances are that this project is also going to outperform altcoins during the bull market. So this is what I really want you to be aware of. Study the winning plays. When everything turns to dust, follow the projects that are behaving and performing better than the majority of other projects. I can't stress this enough. This is super important. Whether it's a short-term time frame, like the dip that we seen yesterday, or an overall phase of the cycle, like, or a chart that it can be, for instance, the year to date. So this is very important. Let's actually get to the sauce. What have I bought? Because I want to tell you everything about my strategy. And after that, we're going to go to actually this post that I posted earlier on today. I want to hear your thoughts about the phase of the market, and I'm going to have a brief section of Q&A. I don't really want to go live because I don't want to spend 1 hour talking about, you know, the market is very red. I don't want to talk 1 or 2 hours about that. But live streams are going to resume probably tomorrow. I bought a heavy bag of Alium. I don't remember the exact value of the Alium when I bought it. But look at the big movements of Alium. Alium has been behaving super strongly, and this movement, I've talked already in the previous live stream, make sure to watch it if you haven't already. But look at the movement that Alium had. It went from $1.10 to $2.2. It went to 2x. This is obviously because whales are accumulating this project, right? Then we see the dump. I'm obviously buying a lot. Alium went down up to 119. I bought a heavy bag of Alium. I got some orders filled. Around the 1.50, and then I bought again. I didn't get this dip because I was still sleeping, but I think I got it around here when it was 1.30. Will it drop back to those levels? I think it can, and this is also why I'm not buying more Alium right now, but this zone is an absolute golden zone, so I won't hesitate to buy more. I've already talked about Brett, and Brett is the meme coin that I've mostly accumulated there. And I mean, when it comes to safety, risk to reward ratio, etc., if I was to check one utility project, I would buy Kaspa. And if I was to buy a Memecoin, I would buy Brett. I could literally buy a portfolio today, starting from scratch. If I was to have two projects, I would buy Kaspa and I would buy Brett. And that would be a portfolio that is going to outperform 99% of your portfolios out there. So these are the two projects that I've accumulated. And I've also bought some Minlayer, a project that has been on such a heavy downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. Exactly what you don't want to see, but I also know what they're building in the back end. I know that there's actually questions about this, so I'm going to go to your questions. Also, make sure to follow me on X if you haven't already, because there's a bunch of alpha that I'm dropping here on a daily basis. And obviously, go on my website and you're going to be able to join my VIP group if you guys are interested. If you really want to make generational money this bull cycle and hopefully retire earlier, leave the matrix, leave that shitty 9-to-5 job that you don't want to turn up to, then this is the place to be, because millionaires are going to be minted as soon as the market changes. So you want to get in now. You don't want to get in after the green candles, because this is the phase in which we're actually making money, okay? We're setting ourselves up for success. So don't come join in 3-4 months when we're already set up for success, because this is the moment in which you want to do it. I also have a free Telegram if you want to get some alpha and start printing money. That is completely free. And yeah, everything's linked on my website anyway. So let's go to your questions. Let's see if there's any smart questions. I've seen a couple, but I haven't seen all of them. Steve-O, what's up, bro? One of my OGs. When will great projects like Minlayer and Tecton get listed on major centralized exchanges? Why do some great projects get listed right away and others take over a year? Is it just money? That is actually a very good question. And I want to tell you this. Minlayer and Tecton are projects that could be listed today on a centralized exchange. And in fact, Minlayer is being super active. Let me actually grab the social media page of Minlayer, because I'm going to show you something real quick. They've done an AMA on Binance Live just the other day. I hope that I can find it now. Yeah. So check it out, because here they discuss the development of the platform, etc. It was literally on Binance Live. That is a big deal, because obviously Binance has some sort of interest into shielding Minlayer. Otherwise, you know, they probably wouldn't care less about hosting them on their own platform. If you see the partnerships of Minlayer as well, it's just a variety of other things. They've just partnered with Camelot. So there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes. So although you can see that, you know, maybe you can say, oh, it has a similar price action to AWT or Little Up Games, which are projects that have gone absolutely just terrible. And I'm the first one to say, even if though I bought them myself when I shouldn't have. I can say that this project has actually been working a lot. It's one of the most responsive projects when you go on their social media channels, and they're actually working a lot behind the scenes. And Tectum, I can say the same things. They're running AMAs and they're doing a lot of very interesting stuff. So if I ask myself, why is this not listed on a centralized exchange? So first of all, we had already had a big run-up in price. So if you see here, they already were getting all this sort of traction. They could have probably listed on a Binance or Coinbase, but obviously they have solid market making behind them, and they're not gonna list in a moment of pure euphoria, right? Because this was a temporary moment of pure euphoria. Now, let's say that the chart goes like this, then they'll probably want to list on an exchange, but they're also going to rely on market conditions. It's not about money, because it doesn't make sense for a project to list when the market is going to crap. It doesn't make sense to list if a project, especially on a Bitcoin layer 2, if Bitcoin is not going to an all-time high anytime soon. In fact, this is the time in which Bitcoin started it started going to all-time high, and then all the alts started going to junk. Bitcoin dominance is not low enough to allow for these altcoins to grow significantly when it comes to volume. So first of all, Bitcoin dominance needs to come down. I have very strong reasons to believe that we're actually topped out. And if you look at the phase of each cycle, we are at the clear moment in which Bitcoin dominance starts to decline. So that should be also one of the big indicator for what phase of the cycle we're in. But I also want to tell you this. If they had listed here, it would have happened exactly what happened to Neon EVM. Look at what happened to Neon EVM. Neon EVM gets listed on Coinbase. What is this? Nobody cares. Nobody cares that Neon EVM gets listed on Coinbase because there is no sort of attention or interest in the market. In fact, if a project gets listed on a Tier 1 exchange when there's no volume whatsoever, nobody is gonna freaking care. Retail is not investing into crypto. There's barely anyone in crypto right now. And now that we've seen the big crash, even less people. So obviously, there's not gonna be enough people to carry the volume needed for this project to go to new all-time highs. So I'm so glad that Minlayer didn't list on Coinbase in this moment when Neon EVM did, because otherwise they would have had the same treatment. Perhaps a 10% pump, and then it sells the news and disappears into the oblivion, and it burns out one of the biggest catalyst event for investors to actually make life-changing money. Would you rather focus on accumulating higher or lower caps in these dips? That is also a very good question. I've had some of my Discord members, for instance, asking me, should you buy maybe something like Little Up Games, or should you buy something more like Solana? And I want to be realistic. When it comes to very small caps, it's like catching something that just keeps dipping. And then you're going to get that meme of when you buy the dip of the dip of the dip of the dip. Because those projects are going to be so subject to volatility. And since I believe that this is not the lowest that we're going to see prices before the astronomical and insane leg up, I do think that those projects are going to be more subject to dips, and I think that they're going to fall a little further down. That is absolutely very important. And I also believe that people shouldn't have these lower caps. It's one thing to have them, to bring your average cost per entry down, but it's one thing to have them overtake your portfolio. And if you keep buying the dip, then it doesn't really make sense, because you're just gonna have uneven quantities of your portfolio, because some of your lower caps are just gonna overtake some other cryptocurrencies in your portfolio, and you probably don't want that for you, but rather focus on building your portfolio for a safety net first, even if you have a degen portfolio, because when those projects that are so small have a reversal, it won't really matter then you didn't DCA them, because they're gonna reverse and they're gonna get crazy multipliers if you were able to hold them long enough. So that is very important. There's also a chance that they're gonna go to zero. Obviously, that is inevitable. Nobody has a crystal ball and nobody can tell you about that, but it's absolutely possible, okay? Focus on your safety net first, very important. Provide an update on Minlayer and Tecton development. Potential price multipliers. Okay, when it comes to update on development, I've already talked about this in Steve's question, and they're building partnerships, they're hosting AMAs. The technology is actually developing for both of the projects in Tectum. The CTO turned into the core and lead developer of the product. So actually very good stuff when it comes to development. They're very active, they're running AMAs, they're involved in the community. It all looks good, to be completely honest. And the price multipliers are insane because, as I said, we are missing the big exchange listings. So we're probably going to go to new highs sooner than later. I think that Minlayer and Tectum, they both have 100x potential from here. And to give you a clear price expectations, it's very hard in this very moment, but I still stand by the fact that both of them can do 100x. I think that Tectum can go even up to $700, and I think that Minlayer can even go to $5 or $7. So I think that is possible. Call me crazy. People are going to call me absolutely crazy, but people that haven't been in crypto long enough, they're just unaware of how fast things can change, especially in the realm of altcoins for projects that are between 10 to 50 million in market cap, especially also if they've been building for years already, they have base teams and they have a base roadmap and actually a very well-functioning product. What is the best meme coin to invest in this cycle? That is completely up to you. What do you mean by best meme coin? Best for like a quick in and out, or best for the long term? If you're telling me about the best project for risk to reward ratio to buy now and hold for a long term, I would say Brett. I think also Turbo has very good potential. And there's a couple jollies that you could put in there. There's even cut coins like PopCut that could do potentially very well. But I think that just focus on the things that are dogs, cats, and boys club characters, because those are going to be the trending narratives, okay? Will you transition to the Ton blockchain? I've already moved a bit to the Ton blockchain. I hold some Ton, and I have 2 or 3 meme coins on Ton. They're more for long-term plays. They're not really swing trades that I'm looking to just get in and out, but more something that I'm just keeping there for the long terms. And yeah, I think that the ecosystem is going to be a winner, and I think it's going to do extremely well for sure. My opinion on AI tech was that it's probably, and it still is, the best AI project on the market. I bought that, and my VIP community will remember that because we bought that at 1.5 cents on the 1st of January this year. We went up to do, I think, a 35 to 40x or even 50x, whatever that was. But it was a crazy multiplier. Now it came down a bit, but we're still at very good returns even from the buy that we did. And I think it's going to be one of the first AI projects to recover, and it's going to do great things, especially with the development of the data center and the new platforms that they are releasing. There's a lot of good catalyst events, and to me, it's just a no-brainer that this project is going to get listed on Binance. Not even debatable for me because it checks all of the boxes that Binance is going through. Respectfully, bro, I'm going to read only one question because I want a chance for everyone to be heard. Timothy asked me, I would like to know which crypto influencers told their followers to sell before the crash. Oh, pretty much no one, but I don't think that any crypto influencers can predict exactly when the stock market can crash 10%, when the stock market in Japan goes down 20%. I think no crypto influencer can predict that. I think that no crypto influencer can predict how the US's presidential election go from one day to another when they change the president. So that is a pretty stupid question. The best Web3 skill to enroll for big Web3 jobs? I think knowledge of the Web3 space, social media presence to be up to date with the trends, and I'm not sure because I never took a corporate job into the Web3 space. What's your opinion on BitTensor, one of the biggest risk to reward ratio plays when it comes to the AI sphere? It's one of the biggest one when it comes to market cap. There was a lot of FUD in the last few weeks when the chain was, when some validator was hacked. But I gotta say that I didn't really keep up to speed because I don't hold it. But it's a very solid project. I wouldn't hesitate buying some. Why do you always shill shitty rug-based memes on your YouTube channel? It's so funny that you asked me that because everyone that is gonna get a bad entry and a bad exit into a meme coin is gonna call a rug, is gonna call any meme a rug. So for instance, if you bought Brett when it was 1.4 billion and then you see Brett going to 500 million yesterday, then is Brett a rug? Not really. And if you're talking about memes that you do a swing trade and then they fade within 48 hours, people still make money out of shitty rug-based memes. It's about getting a good entry and exiting at the right time. So that really seems like an emotional answer. So I hope that you get better in your investing journey. Do you still believe in Neon EVM? I do not, Derek. I do not because I don't think the project is going to recover. I think that the project had a very bad direction when it comes to business decision of listing on Coinbase when the market is trash. They face the consequences. But it's a scaling solution for Solana. It actually has a very clear use case. The tech is great. I think it's going to recover, but it's not going to do that big multipliers, especially because the vesting schedule is terrible and they have very big unlocks, which I'm not sure if they started already in July, but if not, they're going to start in August. So the tokenomics are also very bad. Somebody's asking me about this Prattorian. Is 15K market cap and it has no volume whatsoever. There's 3 transactions in the last 24 hours. So it's probably a gamble. What is this? Like a pre-launch platform, kind of like Pump Fund. There's no volume whatsoever. The website also, I don't really like it. These are not the kind of projects that you want to buy when the market is like this, my friend. Can we buy Nero on Ethereum? I'm not going to talk about Nero, but I'm going to tell you that I have a video releasing in the next couple of days about what I think about the Nero situation, which one you could buy, which one you should buy, which one is legit and which one is not. So stay tuned and maybe turn on the notification bells on the YouTube channel so you don't miss the video. Will altcoins and Bitcoin and pump at the same time, or does Bitcoin have to go down for alts to pump? This is not a stupid question, and this is related to the concept of Bitcoin dominance. I appreciate that that is your first bull cycle and you're asking this question because it's actually very smart. What I can say is that for now, alts and Bitcoin are going to pump on the same time because Bitcoin dominance is still high. And obviously, everything is related in this very phase, especially because it's so crucial given the politics tension and the elections, etc. Everything is really connected a lot. But after Bitcoin dominance comes down a little bit, then altcoins are gonna pump at a much faster rate. And Bitcoin doesn't have to go down. No, that is not the case. It's not about the Bitcoin price per se, in this case that we're talking about, but we need to think in the terms of Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance need to come down when we are already in a greed phase, okay? We are very much in the green, so that it allows the altcoin market, so everything excluding Bitcoin, to actually bring up crazy levels and get those 100 to 1000x multipliers that you've seen happening in the previous bull market. Even if you were not around, you probably have seen those charts. Those charts happen because the amount of money in crypto shifts from Bitcoin to the altcoin, and that is the sign of the proper altcoin season pump. So that cuts it for the question. I hope that you found this video useful and also entertaining. And obviously, if you want to take your crypto investing journey one step further, I do recommend joining my VIP group. That is the best place to be because it's the best community in the crypto sphere right now, and I'm not bragging. It's actually results speaking for themselves. So I hope to see you there. It's the first link in our description, QR code that you see above my head. And keep in mind that crypto bull market is not over. We're yet to get started to get those crazy gains that you're dreaming about. They're still possible, but you need to set yourself up for success before we actually start pumping with these green candles like crazy. This is the time in which millionaires are minted. So join now and don't waste this once in a lifetime opportunity that you might have right in front of you. I hope to see you there and help you out with your crypto investing journey. And until then, take care for now.